Have you been thinking about moving to Frisco, Texas? Well, Frisco is a fantastic community. I mean, it has all kinds of residential options. It has like a quickly growing business hub, which means lots of job opportunities. It also has like this fantastic emphasis on physical fitness, and it is a sports lover's paradise. So if you've been thinking about moving to Frisco, you are on to a very good thing, and you are not going to want to miss this video. So stay tuned. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome, glad to meet you. My name is Wendy Pinnell. I am a local real estate broker here in the Dallas area. If you want to know everything there is to know about living in Dallas, Texas, or any one of its many suburbs, including Frisco, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and check out that little bell. You got to be sure and tap on that as well. We have been in the business as a family brokerage since 2007, working with buyers and sellers just like you, and we absolutely love it. So if you like the idea of our family helping yours, be sure to head on down to that description section and look for our Let's Find Home questionnaire. You're also welcome to call us, or send us an email or drop us a text. Really, any one of those ways work, right? We're just happy to help you find home in Dallas, Texas. But like I said today, we're going to take a deep look at Frisco, Texas, and we're going to do that from a bird's eye view. So if you've been wanting to know more about Frisco, Texas, you've definitely come to the right place. So let's get to it. Okay, so here you can see Frisco, Dallas, and Fort Worth to kind of give you an idea, big picture wise, where Frisco fits into the whole Dallas-Fort Worth equation. Okay, so it's a straight shot up north and not so much with Fort Worth. So if you're looking for central location, Frisco's not going to be the one for you, okay? So these are your more centrally located. All right, let's take a quick look at some commute times and see what we're talking about there. So let's do that. Let's take some commute times. All right, where are we with that? Okay, so if you were commuting to Dallas, downtown Dallas, you're talking about a 30-minute commute, and you're going to take the Dallas North Tollway. Now, fun fact, or perhaps not so fun fact, you see this little piece right here? The east-west is going to take you quite a bit of that 30-minute commute. So the highway itself is not bad, the Dallas North Tollway, but east-west, Frisco does not have a whole lot of good coming on there in terms of a fast drive. Most of it is stop, go, stop, go. All right, so how about if you were commuting to Fort Worth? Okay, right there, you're talking about a 46-minute commute, and it's going to look something like this. So you're going to be using the Sam Rayburn Tollway, also known as 121. Okay, pretty long clip there. Not sure you would want to call Frisco home if you are commuting to Fort Worth. Plenty of nice suburbs closer to Fort Worth, right? Okay, so how about if you wanted to check out the AT&T Stadium? You got the hankering for some good football or baseball. Well, you're going to be using the George W. Bush Tollway. Okay, so far you can see that Frisco really has the tollways going on, right? 3 so far. So you're going to take the George W. Bush down to I-30. Then you're going to head west. Okay, so why do I point that out? Well, probably if you move to Texas, the DFW area, or if you already live here, at some point during your time here, you're going to be in this area, more likely than not, because you have the AT&T Stadium, which is where the Dallas Cowboys play. You also have the Texas Rangers baseball, and you also have Hurricane Harbor here and Six Flags Over Texas here. So kind of this whole area is this entertainment hub. Also Texas Live is there. So yeah, so I really like to kind of give you that commute time so you can kind of get an idea. Like I said, you're probably going to end up there at some point along the way. So yeah, so 40-minute commute there. How about if you travel with work? Let's take a look at that. So if you have to travel to the DFW airport, you're talking about, just under 30 minutes, and it's going to look something like this. So again, you're going to be frequenting the Sam Rayburn Tollway, and then you're going to take 114 south, okay? That'll give you to the airport about a 28-minute commute. Okay, how about if you had to go to the Las Colinas Business Center, okay? Because, there are actually in the Las Colinas Business Center 150,000 employees, jobs in the Las Colinas Business Center. So, if you live in Frisco and you need to work in here, talking about just under 28 minutes, and it's going to look something like this, okay? So this one is going to involve George W. Bush. So you're going to come south, right, from Frisco. You can kind of see the Frisco right here. You're going to come south on the Dallas North Tollway. Then you're going to take, George W. Bush, and then 114. It's going to set you back by about 28 minutes. So you've got your 31-minute commute to downtown Dallas, 46 minutes to downtown Fort Worth, 40 minutes to the AT&T Stadium, DFW Airport, 28 minutes, and the Las Colinas Business Center, 28 minutes. So, you know what? If you don't have to go to Fort Worth, Frisco's not a bad place for the other commutes, right? You're talking about, right around 30 minutes. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to talk to you, show you a little bit about where sports fit in to Frisco. And you may be like, what? How does sports fit into Frisco? And they actually play a very, very big role. But first, let me start off with something that is not sports, the Stonebriar Center. Okay, so why am I bringing that up? Well, because really Frisco was a nothing kind of podunk town, but the city council and the city developers had big plans, and they started really here at the Stonebriar Center, which is just a massive mixed-use retail area, okay? And so what happened, what was accomplished here, well, it got the attention. It kind of got on the grid. Developers were like, oh, what's this? Maybe we need to, take Frisco a little more seriously. Okay, so that kind of started it, but then they brought in this city manager who just had big plans. And, I can tell you, Frisco leadership from the very beginning did not want just a bedroom community, okay? They had higher plans than that. So what they did is they hired as city manager George Purefoy, who kind of shared their big plans for Frisco, right? Because they were like, we're not going to let this become a bedroom community. We want to have bigger plans than that. So, what George had this brainchild of involving sports. He wanted to make Frisco like this sports powerhouse, that could bring a lot of revenue into the city. So, first they start out right here. They have the Toyota Stadium, okay? And you've got your soccer there. They also have the Star in Frisco. And the Star, kind of bring in here, the Star is for the Dallas Cowboys, right? This is their headquarters, and this is where they practice. So I mentioned the AT&T Stadium is where they actually play their games, but they have this huge presence here. So with the Dallas Cowboys right there. Okay, what else? Well, they also have the Comerica Center. Let me kind of put off right in here. And this is where the Dallas Stars practice. So are you kind of getting the idea here? All of these professional sports. Okay, so they also have here, in here a little bit bigger so you can see this. They also have the Rough Riders, okay? And that is the farm team for the Texas Rangers. So they didn't exactly get the Texas Rangers into Frisco, but they did get their farm team, the Rough Riders. Okay, they also have, kind of scroll out here so you can see this. Let's see. Here it is, right in here. It's a little bit hard to see, but right in here, they have the Texas Legends basketball, okay? So that is the farm team for the Dallas Mavericks. So they couldn't get the Dallas Mavericks in, but they did get their farm team. Okay, and as if that wasn't enough, they got the PGA headquarters to commit to coming to Frisco, right up here. So the PGA headquarters, the headquarters are coming the spring of 2022, and then the Omni PGA Resort coming the spring of 2023. Now, what's really neat about all of these sport options in Frisco is how they have impacted Frisco from an economic standpoint, and really in a very unique way. So what they did, and again, this was George's, brainchild, is they formed something called a tax increment reinvestment zone. And what that ultimately, I won't bore you with the details, but basically what that did is it made it to where all these sports centers were related to the independent school district, right? So you have all of these fantastic, expensive sports centers that Frisco didn't have to issue bond programs for, right? And all of the independent school districts get to use these facilities. So they didn't have to spend bond programs for, building like a gigantic stadium, just for like football. Instead, they're able to use all these facilities for that. And so not only does this involve sports, but let me show you this because I think this is very cool. They also have a Baylor Scott and White sports medicine that is available for students as well. So really neat and unique. That's right over here, Baylor Scott White Sports Therapy Research right at the start. So it's just a really neat little bit of history lesson there for you in how sports are intertwined in making the Frisco schools so fantastic. And the Frisco schools are fantastic. In fact, let me give you a quick look at niche here. Let's see if we can find the niche.com. All right, here we are. Because I want to show this to you. Schools are phenomenal. Okay, they're A+ in Frisco. I got housing A-, good for families A+, crime and safety B-, and diversity an A. And so what is neat is by integrating these sports programs into the schools, they're able to keep the property taxes on the low side. They don't have to keep raising property taxes for the benefit of schools because they're getting revenue from all these sports programs. So that is a very unique thing about Frisco. So I just wanted to tell you about that real quickly, just because, like I said, it is really unique. Okay, so let's touch on some Frisco statistics right quick. All right, let you get to know a little bit more about Frisco. All right, population in Frisco, 224,000 and some change. All right, it's in Collin County, and Collin County is just exploding in growth, and Frisco is too, but all the towns near Collin County are also growing very rapidly. Okay, the land area of Frisco, 68 square miles, okay? So it's a very large size. We have compared in past, map tours how Midlothian down here, and I just have to mention this really quickly because I am a fan of Midlothian. Midlothian down here with its paltry population of 40,000 has the same area as Frisco, the same land area. So to the extent that Frisco is getting crowded, you might want to consider, the South at some point along the line, same land size with only 40,000 population. Okay, so here we are though with Frisco, 68 square miles. Let's see here, growth rate, 5.66%. So this is rivaled again by Midlothian. So I have made a video actually where I talked about how Midlothian is kind of like Frisco's little sister to the south, and that's because it does have a lot of similarities, that very fast growth rate, that similar land area. Now, where they are different is that Midlothian is shaping up to be a bedroom community. So if they want to rival Frisco, right, as their little sister, they're going to have to do something about building up businesses and revenue. Okay, so let's take a look. What's the next thing? Growth since 2010, 91%. So they have almost doubled in size since 2010. Wow. The 2010 population, 116,000. So we can see that Frisco is definitely on fire. Okay, average household income, 153,000 and some change. The home ownership rate, I find this is very interesting, a 71% home ownership rate. And I always like to see that higher home ownership rate just because it tends to indicate deeper roots, whereas when you have a lower home ownership rate, you're going to see more investment properties, and those definitely serve a purpose. Okay, you need to have rental properties, but the home ownership, I think you see more of like an investment into it and deeper roots, like your neighbors are going to stick around a little while. So 71% is excellent, and actually let me show you, because I actually highlighted some other areas. I wanted you to be able to show you how impressive that is. Okay, so home ownership in Frisco, 71%. Let's take a look at these other cities. Okay, So right here we have South Lake, okay, which is definitely outdoing Frisco. It has a 93% home ownership rate. So that's among definitely the highest in the Metroplex. And then we bump into Irving, which is a 36%. But we talk about Irving, and that isn't really, Irving is kind of a unique animal in that it has the Las Colinas master plan subdivision in it, which was planned, to be high density housing. Lots of condos, apartments. This isn't necessarily a bad thing about Irving. It's just kind of, like I said, Las Colinas has a huge impact on that. Okay, Arlington, also a low home ownership rate. There is a college in Arlington, and we've seen too that will drive down the home ownership rate if you have a lot of students. So you do see that in Arlington, University of Texas in Arlington. Also, you see that in Denton. On my map tour in Denton, we saw that it was a really low home ownership rate as well. And then down here you have Mansfield and Midlothian, and they both definitely rival Frisco in that home ownership rate. 75% in Mansfield, 80% in Midlothian. So that kind of gives you an idea. Higher home ownership rate, again, it kind of indicates deeper roots, right? People are sticking around a little bit longer. They own their own homes, potentially a little bit better maintained perhaps because of an ownership interest. Anyway, so that home ownership rate, I love to see that. Just kind of wanted to share that with you, how that can really benefit the community. Okay, let's dig into housing for just a minute, because there's lots of good things going on in Frisco with regard to housing. Although you should know that, I guess one of the cons to Frisco is that many will consider housing in Frisco to be a bit on the expensive side. All right, let's take a look a little bit here at some housing facts. Okay, median sales price past 90 days, $632,000. So yeah, I think there are, some that would definitely think that Frisco housing is more on the expensive side. Also, median price per square foot past 90 days, $215 per square foot. Now, we saw similar values like that in Mansfield and Midlothian, but you have to remember that was all new construction. So definitely still on the high side there. Okay, let's take a look here. Luxury and affluent areas. So your really nicer affluent areas here, you're gonna find Newman Village Park, you're gonna find Villages at Stonebriar, and Hills of Kingswood. So let me kind of show you. Here is Villages at Stonebriar right in here. You also have Newman Village right here and the Hills of Kingswood. So I can kind of zoom in there and get you an idea. Okay, so what's nice here with Newman Village is look at how close that is to the tollway, because I'm not sure if I've pointed that out yet. So let's kind of scroll out just long enough, zoom out just to see that. Frisco is not set up in a fantastic way in terms of traffic. And let me show you that. Okay, so here you can see the whole of Frisco, right? And do you see how many highways, north-south highways it has? Or should I say does not have? Because it literally only has the Dallas North Tollway. And then in terms of east-west, wow, it's lacking even more. So if you are, for example, in the middle of Frisco, you're going to have a lot of stop go. Now, we saw this and we've talked about this. Let me kind of refer back here. We talked about this with Arlington, how Arlington is in a similar situation. It does not have a north-south corridor. And then we talked, about how Grand Prairie, if you check out Little Grand Prairie here, it has fantastic highway access. It has the east-west, 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 and then north-south on both edges and in the middle. But you don't get that so much in Frisco, right? So traffic is definitely a problem, but you can't underestimate being close to the Dallas North Tollway. And the Newman Village has that. So really nice feature there. You also see that down here with the Villages at Stonebriar. Hills of Kingswood's definitely not going to have. So let's take a look at that. You've got your Sam Rayburn Tollway here and your Dallas North Tollway here. So I would say that definitely is an advantage for the Villages at Stonebriar. The Hills of Kingswood, probably not quite as ideally located, because look at how far really of a drive you're going to have to get if you commute from there. Man, a little bit more of a major road here and here, but yeah, you're going to spend a good amount of your time just getting to the tollways, right? So, Frisco is definitely known for its traffic issues, okay? But those are your more affluent areas right there, if that is important to you. Now, one thing I wanted to show you too is that Frisco is definitely still having some great new construction. So I wanted to point that out to you. Right over here, you have the Estates at Shattuck Park, right in here. Estates at Shattuck Park. Then you have Northwood Manor. You also have Hollyhock, Preston Hills, and the Park Vista. You also have Frisco Springs. Okay, so the reason I am pointing these out, these are actually what we would call like detached single family. I didn't even get into all of the townhomes new construction. That's the neat thing about Frisco is you still have, even though it's big, right? It's a big area and it's highly populated. It's one of the big five. You aren't landlocked. You still have some real new construction opportunities. Okay, so let's talk about higher education for a minute, because I know we've talked about how excellent their schools are, but Frisco also has some college opportunities as well. So you can see right here, they have the University of Texas at Frisco, and they also have Collin College. There it is right there. So the remarkable thing that I really like with that high home ownership rate is that you even have some colleges in here, and you still have that high of a home ownership rate. So that definitely indicates, away from the colleges, very high ownership rate, and it's really neat, a neat thing to have. If you're wondering at all about medical facilities, Frisco has you covered there as well. Right here you have the Frisco Medical Center Hospital. Okay, and then you also have the Texas Health Hospital of Frisco. Let's see if we can find that right over here. And then you have the Baylor Scott and White way down here. So definitely some great medical options as well. So, as you can see, really well-rounded, Frisco. I didn't get into retail too much, but all along the tollways, they just have tons of retail. So I want to touch just real quickly right before we close on businesses in Frisco. So we know how it has, that fantastic sports presence, right? How we talked about how it's just a sports powerhouse. Frisco also had big plans for businesses. And back in the 2010 to 2015 range, they had this area that they were calling the $5 billion mile, right? And it was supposed to be this huge explosion of commercial that was going to bring, millions of dollars and tens of thousands of jobs, right? And then they kind of came away from that. It didn't quite turn out the way they had planned. So initially they had planned the Star in Frisco, Frisco Station, the Gate, and Wade Park. And some of those came to pass, but then Wade Park did not. And it ended up being, that they kind of, because of that, abandoned this whole idea of the $5 billion mile, but they replaced it with what they called Frisco's North Platinum Corridor. So, in terms of business, Frisco has stumbled along a little bit. There have been some challenges. Still, it's definitely growing, and I would say it's definitely a really big priority for Frisco. So you would definitely expect to see a lot more business growth in Frisco, again, with what they're calling their Frisco North Platinum Corridor. So I think that really gives you an idea of how well-rounded Frisco is, right? It has the sports powerhouse, it has the two colleges, it has excellent schools, and it has its business hub, which is just really exploding. I don't think it's what they had hoped it would be by this point, but it's definitely growing quickly. Lots and lots of jobs, and really not bad in the commute section either. So hopefully that gives you a good idea, from a bird's eye view of Frisco, and I know I threw a little bit of history lesson your way as well. So I hope you can really feel good about what you've learned about Frisco here, and definitely, in the comments section, if you have any questions or comments, definitely put them down there, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on Frisco as well. But anyway, If this was helpful, the next thing you can do is head on back over to my YouTube channel, and check out another video, right? Because there's plenty there, plenty of other map tours, plenty of vlog tours, and also if a move is in your future, and you like the idea of our family helping yours, definitely head on down to the description section there, because you are going to find our Let's Find Home questionnaire, honestly, where we can help you anywhere in the Metroplex, because we have been doing this for so long. So definitely fill out that Let's Find Home questionnaire, and you're also welcome, to give us a call, drop us a text, send us an email. Really, any of those ways work, because we're just happy to, help you find your home here in this fabulous area. But listen, in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and you know what? Have a great day.